Hello everybody, welcome back to Helms Gaming. This is a re-recording of my original video on the STG. Redoing it because there was way too much background noise and it was way too annoying. I wasn't happy with the sound quality, and going forward I'm trying to make improvements. So I'm having another go. Anyway, as I mentioned, this is about the new Tier 8 Soviet Premium Medium Tank, the STG, also known as the Guard. By the time this video goes live, the tank is no longer on sale. Unfortunately, but it probably will come back around, so is it any good should you get it? Well, it does not fall into the trend of the new super overpowered Tier 8 premiums. It is not competition for the Patriot, the Liberté, the Defender, or the Scorpion. So on that basis, if that's what you're looking for, then no. You probably don't want to get this one. However, it is a bit different, and it is a competent medium tank at Tier 8 in its own right. And it offers something that's a bit different from the other Tier 8 Soviet medium premiums, and a bit different from most of the other Tier 8 premium mediums in general. So on that basis, yes, I like this tank. I think it is worth it. The party piece on this tank is a 122mm gun that hits for 390 alpha, like the IS-3 does. And hitting for 390 on a medium, especially at Tier 8, is really, really nice. It allows you to trade efficiently and punish mistakes and generally do things that most other Tier 8 mediums that are hitting for anywhere between 240 and 300 can't really get away with. And you don't really give up that much in the way of gun depression and accuracy and gun handling and penetration for that punch either. You have 220 base pen, and the gun handling, while not epic, is not terrible either. As you can see, I was able to land 2 out of 4 shots on the commander hatch of that Super Pershing, which is kind of an annoying target to hit at this distance. This is in contrast to that T-34-3 that was next to me and is now driving around the building. He does not have the accuracy or the gun handling to reliably hit weak spots, and he doesn't have the penetration either. He only has 175mm of penetration. I have 220, which is pretty good for a Tier 8, let alone a Tier 8 medium. So you get a punchy gun with decent accuracy, decent gun handling, pretty good penetration, and absolutely awesome 390 alpha. Where's the downside? Well, we're about to see. Slam this guy in the face for 380. But now I wait for a while. The reload is quite long. It's very long, in fact, almost 12 seconds, and as a result, the DPM on this tank is actually pretty bad. It's not terrible, but it's not very good either. And certainly in this particular situation, in other situations, it would have been nice to have a little bit more DPM dealing with that STA-2. Very bad driving here, I get caught on the building. But anyway, thankfully he chose to shoot at the guy behind me instead of me, so I got to put 2 shots into him for free. Fine by me. Mobility-wise, not too bad. It'll go about 40. It'll go about 50 on the flat, and it will reach it. But the power to weight is about average, and the ground resistances are about average. So it takes a while to get there. It's not super speedy, but it's also not terribly sluggish. The armor is pretty unreliable, except in certain situations where you're able to hide your hull and only show the turret. And even then, the turret has plenty of weak spots. Ran this AMX 1390. Shoot him again in the face. But the front of the hull of this tank, all around, is basically paper. Don't count on ever bouncing anything. Ran that guy to death. The turret, excuse me, the turret. If you get somebody that doesn't aim at you too much, the front of the turret is reasonably strong, but it does have some huge weak spots. This big commander hatch thing on the left side, looking at the front of the tank, is very large, very easy to hit, and very thin. So anybody that shoots that's going to just go straight through. And there are some other small hatches up top that can be easily penetrated. The top of the turret is fairly thin, so anybody that shoots down at you is going to have an easy shot, easy penetration when they hit that. The view range as well, only 370, which is kind of lackluster at this tier. It is not enough to max out to the 445 cap. unless you run food, which I generally don't. Bit lackluster, not very nice at a tier where most mediums have 380, 390, or even 400 in some cases. 370 really falls short. The camouflage, however, on this tank is excellent. What you lack in gun depression, which isn't terrible, it's still 6 degrees. It's not bad, but it's not great. Uh, you make up what you lack in gun depression and view range, you make up for it in camo. This thing is quite sneaky, easy to get around the battlefield without being spotted unless you're really close. Probably the closest comparison for this thing is the M4 Rev, which, relative to this, you're trading a lot of concealment and armor that works situationally for better DPM and better gun depression that lets you work ridge lines. I take a shot from the Super Pershing that's over there in the corner, and unfortunately I missed the commander hatch on that T-95. Waiting for a shot, he decides he's going to take another look at me, and so I managed to juke his shot, move away just before he fires, and I freaking missed mine as well. Oh well, he dies. When it's top tier, probably the T-54 Mod 1 is a better bet than this. Try to get a shot into that T-95 before the end of the game. But really, when you're not top tier, I would much rather be driving this. So if you're looking for a Tier 8 Soviet premium crew trainer, this is not a bad bet. T-95 dies before I reload, and that's pretty much the game.
So here's the end plates. 1367 XP without the double, second class mastery. Not a particularly good game, not a particularly bad game either. Probably about average. No medals or shiny bling except for the Kamikaze badge that I got for ramming the AMX 1390 to death. He was my only kill. 2803 damage done. 911 base XP. And 60,000 credits profit. This tank actually is a quite good moneymaker because of the combination of the high alpha and the pretty good penetration, which means that you don't have to fall back on premium rounds too much. Even when you're bottom tier and you have to fight tier 9s and 10s, generally your standard rounds have enough penetration to get through the sides of those tanks without having to dab your 2 key, which is really, really nice. Pretty good crew trainer. It shares the same 4-man crew that most of the other high-tier Russian mediums have, with the exception of the fact that the commander is doubling as the radio guy on this tank instead of the loader doubling as the radio guy, which I think is the case on most of the other Russian mediums from like tier 6 and up, or tier 7 and up, whatever. So other than that, where your crew skills aren't necessarily going to line up perfectly, this is a pretty competent crew trainer. If you don't already have one for your Russian mediums, this one's pretty good. I think it's probably the best one overall, especially when you're not top tier. This is, on that note, a quite good tier 8 medium in general, not just a tier 8 premium, but I think it is definitely one of the best ones just because it hits for 390, which is a real asset in most situations. It's better in most cases with the current meta to be able to hit somebody really hard whenever the opportunity presents, rather than having to find a situation where you can keep your gun firing and let your DPM do the work. Just because of the combination of the 390 alpha and the good penetration, this thing is probably one of the better tier 8 mediums, full stop, let alone a tier 8 premium, tier 8 medium premium. So, do recommend. It's a pretty good tank. If you want one, it's supposed to be coming back on sale, I think, sometime this month. So if you want one, keep an eye out for it over the next 3 to 4 weeks. And that's pretty much it. I will see you on the next one.